So now this is your girl's recording. You can go ahead. We can get into this next damn reaction, shall we? Now, Charlie, shout outs to you. Here we are talking about this. P. Diddy has finally been arrested. And man, oh man, it has been quite an interesting 2024 and quite an interesting month of September. Um, and not only it is this man has been indicted, this is the United States or New York versus Sean Diddy Combs or P Diddy or uh, Brother Love or he has so many damn names to himself. And they come to find out, it is like in with all these damn freak offs that he was doing, they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube in his possession at his property. This ain't gonna be too good for you, gang. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead. Let's get into this reaction, y'all. Let's do it.
It's finally happening. P. Diddy has been arrested. Anything is possible! This is a moment for celebration. For so long, P. Diddy has gotten away with heinous crimes that tons of people knew about. From car bombs to assaults to sex crimes, it's like P. Diddy was going for some kind of high score, trying to catch every possible crime like a Pokemon. He has terrorized the music industry for decades and ruined so many lives. In recent times, the evidence against him to support all of the allegations that have existed for decades has been overwhelming and led to a large investigation against P. Diddy, and now it looks like we're reaching the climactic finale with him being arrested. When this story broke last night, the indictment was sealed, but this morning they said, "Open the gates. Let them see." To sum it up, he has been charged with sex trafficking by force, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy, alleging he ran an enterprise that engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, or kidnapping, arson, and other crimes. He abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct from 2008 till now. The allegations mirror 11 civil
I think that it's been longer than 2008. For all those who don't know about what Sean Diddy Combs or Puff Daddy back in the 90s, he started out as an intern. He wanted to be a rapper, but he didn't really have the rapping skill in the 90s. So being an intern and working for music industries and stuff very early on in the 80s, 90s, um, that's when it is that he said, all right, I'm going to go ahead and collaborate with a couple people and open and do our own record label called Bad Boy. Now, for all the people that knows of Bad Boy, the person it is who was really in charge of that was Biggie. Biggie put Diddy in check, and so did Little Kim. Now, a lot of people don't think it is that Little Kim did, but she wholeheartedly did. She had a level of respect from Junior Mafia and a lot of other people within New York City for years. But before Biggie ended up with his untimely murder, he was getting ready. He was gearing up to leave Bad Boy. He felt something. It is like, I'm not really dealing with him too much. And then he ended up, unfortunately, being murdered. Tupac is somebody else that also has been murdered. And if y'all don't know about this, Diddy and J-Lo dated in the late 1990s. And there was a whole shooting. I forgot the girl's name, like not Natasha or Natalia or something like that in the 90s when they were dating. Diddy was actually trying to set up for this woman to get shot. Not J-Lo. J-Lo was a part of it. She had gun residue on her hands and everything like that, and she had to go in for some questioning. She didn't want to go to prison or anything like that. And I tell you, ever since it is that situation, J-Lo has not touched or dealt with niggas ever since. Ever since that situation, J-Lo has been with everybody else but black since Diddy. Ironically enough. So, I mean, the situation with him and Kim Porter. Kim Porter had a baby with Albie Shore, which is Quincy. Quincy is Diddy's adopted son. Kim Porter mysteriously died from pneumonia, but the first coroner said it is that this was a homicide. There has been a lot, like when I tell y'all, like this is just a small fraction of what I'm telling y'all about with Diddy that I've known for years about with him. There's something has been a little bit off. But anytime it is that somebody tries to go ahead and be like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna try to take him to court or we're gonna expose him for what it is that he's done. I mean, you get coerced, you get harassed. I mean, you get set up. You had that whole car uh explosion situation, a house setting on fire, mysteriously people dying from quote unquote heart attack or pneumonia or an aneurysm and stuff. There's been there's been too many instances around with Diddy that I'm like, there's something not right here. So this has been going on for decades, decades in front of our face, and now we're finally getting to the level of the trafficking, the paying off escorts from one place to another, distributing drugs to them, having them going within these freak offs, forced labors, kidnapping, arson, all of that stuff, a level of abuse, like physical, emotional, sexual, all of those different things. And that's why I say that this is from 2008. I beg to differ. I feel that it's been way longer than that. 2008 is just a small fraction. I feel like it's more, and we're about to find out all of this stuff now that it is that he's been indicted.
Complaints filed against him since 2023. Really, that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the P. Diddy lore. He is a horrible menace that has been around for decades. Also mentioned is that he had thousands of bottles of lube and baby oil that were seized from his home during those raids as part of his freak-off supplies. He also had tons of narcotics as well. So Diddy became infamous for his freak-off parties that would go on for days, where he'd force attendees to not only stay there and perform non-consensual sex acts in front of him, but he would just be pumping them full of drugs, and he would be watching while furiously masturbating like a coked-out goblin. So in relation to drug charges, he'd allegedly distribute cocaine, oxy, Xanax, GHB, MDMA, and ketamine.
Let me go back to that. Let me go back to that really fast. And then afterwards, the women were allegedly received IV fluids that helped them physically recover from these said freak-offs. And this is also within the documentations of all the stuff from the indictment. Later on, the document said they listed off all the narcotics that was allegedly distributed. Even afterwards, the IVs was given not only just to the women, but it's given off to the men as well to recover from said freak-offs. These freak-offs wasn't just going on for just a couple hours and whatnot. These things would go on for days, and then it would be as frequent. They were frequently happening. If anything, I'm side-eyeing Jay-Z. I wouldn't be surprised for a couple of years. Oh, Zach, we gonna talk about Jay-Z too. We're gonna talk about him
Xanax.
Because Jay-Z has been the quietest that he's ever been now. I've told y'all that Jay-Z has had a very interesting past, and Nicki Minaj has been talking about him openly at first. And now a lot of people like to sit there and say that Nicki is just some coked out, crazy 5'2" woman, but this woman knows something. It is easy to peg somebody off as being crazy, but the message, sometimes you have to pay attention to what the message is being said here. Because why would somebody say those things? Why would somebody make a bold accusation like this? Why would somebody say that? You can't, eventually after a while, you can't sit there and say it is like, oh, this person's just crazy. They don't know what it is that they're talking about. This isn't this. Yeah? Is that the,
GHB, MDMA, and ketamine. I'm going to be very brave here for a moment and say, that's not alleged. That is confirmed. The amount of drugs this guy had here, he was like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but drugs instead of candy. The amount of freaky shit they found in his house must have been like entering a separate dimension. Thousands of bottles of lube, like so much lube it'd make Bad Dragon's headquarters jealous. Thousands of bottles of baby oil, more than Johnson & Johnson's warehouse probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they found the goddamn Death Note among those freak-off supplies. His legal team seems very optimistic that things are going to go well for P. Diddy. They even released a statement saying, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." Hi, Mark. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Are you serious? Like, I understand it's your job. I get that, but holy cannoli, an unjust prosecution, huh? So what if there's overwhelming evidence to support the decades worth of allegations against Mr. Combs here? And so what if there's that video of him brutally beating Cassie in that hotel? He said he's sorry. Did we forget about that? He apologized. Let's all move on from it. Racketeering? You're gonna try and come after him for racketeering? Mr. Combs' brain is so rotted from years of drug abuse, he can't even spell racketeering, much less engage in it. This is a load of hooey. It's unjust. A miscarriage of justice, even. He goes on to glaze him a little bit, sucking on his cock, calling him a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, proven philanthropist. He then has the...
You're saying that he's a loving family man, but the death behind Kim Porter, the person it is that he said that he's loved this woman X, Y, and Z. Her death is still a mystery, y'all. This woman just mysteriously died from pneumonia. And come to find out, the first coroner said that it has to be a homicide. This woman had so many different levels of toxins in her body. And for somebody to say that, like, first, there's always been a mystery behind that. There's always like, oh, well, I always loved her. This isn't this. Like, it's a little weird to me. The dead can't speak. The dead can't defend themselves. They're no longer here. I feel that there's foul play. I still, to this day, ever since I heard about Kim Porter's death, I'm like, hold on, something's not right about this situation here. And Cassie, who is another person who's been with this man for 11 years, 11 plus years. First things first, anytime it is you be with anybody for more than 3 years and there's no ring on your finger is a red flag. It is a major red flag for me, and especially if you going into like 7+ years with somebody. Hell, in certain states, if you've been with somebody for 7+ years and y'all living together and got all different things together, technically it is you're married within that state. So this is why I'm like, hold on. If they have not been married, and there's something that's going on, because you don't just be with somebody for that amount of years and there's no level of getting married and stuff. You can't sit there and say money is an issue. Can't sit there and say that, gang. So this is why I started being like, you know what? Cassie must be going through something. Cassie must be going through something. J-Lo has experienced some stuff with him. All these different levels of women. Kim Porter, you talk Cassie. Carisha is probably the only person who has not experienced that level of the stuff it is that he's done to women before. But Carisha, even still, your silence, I was still side-eyeing you for a little bit, but I got the chance to watch that interview. She may have not gotten the chance to experience that, but she cannot speak for everybody else. And I don't want to say it is that she's blind eye or being ignorant to it, because again, different situations can bring out different sides out of people. So, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt on this one. The fact that Beyonce is quiet, but the Beehive's all noise is crazy. You would think that she would check the fan base, but she didn't. She doesn't really check her fan base like that, to be honest. But Beyonce is the type of person that's going to keep quiet about with said things. But do I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we would be so shocked if we was to find out the information relating it to Beyonce? Oh yeah, absolutely.
The gall to say he's imperfect but not a criminal, and then says he's been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reverse your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. See, that's the thing, Mark. People have all the facts because there's so much evidence with the facts. There is video evidence to support the facts.
and I've been hearing it is with this damn freak off videos, because they're not alleged, but those freak offs has been recorded. There's been secretly recorded of people. And a lot of other celebrities it is that we know of or we listened or is listening to is also in those freak offs. And it's been sold. I think it was sold for like 500 million or something like that before. I'm very curious. This is why it is that I say this. Now that like with this indictment going on, I'm very curious to know what names are going to be involved with this moving forward. I wouldn't be shocked if Beyonce is exposed next to anything in the chopping block, and even Megan. We'll get into that, Zach.
What do you mean?
We'll get into
Again,
that.
I know he's just doing his job, but that shit is so shameless and foul. I don't know how you sleep at night when you have to defend someone that is obviously guilty like P. Diddy. It's
That's what lawyers
fucking
do.
wild to me. P. Diddy. 31 minutes ago. Sean Combs arrested in Manhattan after grand jury indictment. They done caught the diddler. They also had that video drop of him beating the shit out of her recently. And then he released the apology video about it. It's always, like, I understand it's their job to defend their clients, but it's always just so crazy. A statement from Mr. Combs' legal team said that they are disappointed with the decision to prosecute him and noted that he had been cooperative with the investigation and had voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Ugh. We're so disappointed that they're actually trying to hold him accountable. Like, we're really upset about that, actually. Yeah, there's overwhelming evidence to all of these awful, awful crimes that he's committed, including that video of him beating the shit out of Cassie. But, like, why would you, like, I thought this was a free country. Why would you try and, like, punish him for that? I'm assuming the apology video didn't work. We don't know yet. We don't know. Maybe they'll send the apology video out to the powers that be.
So Mr. Combs 54, who's also known as Diddy and Puff Daddy, has a list of names. A key figure within the global rise of hip hop as a commercial force in the 90s and 2000s, helped out big stars of rappers and R&B singers like the late great Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige. Although it is that him and Mary J. Blige had a relationship within her early career, may I add. Mary, I hate to say this, Mary couldn't sing. I hate to say this, but I hate to say this. And you know, Mary J. Blige actually is very good with acting. Her playing in her role in Power, phenomenal. Love it. But Mary and Diddy had a relationship in her early career. And a lot of the songs, hit songs it is that Mary have, were written by Faith Evans. Let me repeat that again. For the people in the back. Mary J. Blige and Sean Diddy Combs himself had a relationship, a secret sexual relationship in her early career. And a lot of her early hits within her first album were written by Faith Evans. Faith really, her career should have popped off a lot better than what it is that she had. But unfortunately, she was a ghostwriter for years. And then on top of that, too, ended up getting married to Stevie J. I don't understand how it is that you go from being married. Like, the story changes with her and Big. And I thought it was like, oh, they known each other for like 5 weeks before they got married. Then it was 19 days. The story switches so much on how little of time it is that they knew each other to get married. And Stevie J is the godfather of their son. And I'm wholeheartedly confused on why Faith would even go as far as marrying Stevie J, and that is the godfather. You know, this stuff like that is just not good. He said Mary J. Blige is a good actor and an artist, but I'm side-eyeing the fuck out of her. Oh, trust me.
And they'll be like, wow,
Everybody's gonna get
he has
side-eyed.
reformed. This is a good man. We can't punish him for, he's changed. He has changed so much. Look at this apology video and how sincere it is.
He said, I'm starting to side eye Ray J, as you should. You really should. You wholeheartedly should. The whole level of Whitney Houston's death. I'm not gonna say it is that you know, he had a part to play in it, but I wholeheartedly do. I wholeheartedly feel like it is like, you know, Ray J has a part to play in it. So Faith played the role as a flip flopper. I don't know, y'all. I just don't believe the story. I don't believe the story. It is that she just didn't know who Tupac was. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I don't believe that story of like, oh, she didn't know who Tupac was and decided to go ahead and work with him. You got into an argument with Big, and then immediately afterwards, to try to find work and money, you go over to California to write some songs for Tupac. The person it is he wasn't seeing eye to eye with at the time, and you know, it was just after it is that Tupac got shot and went into prison for that false sexual charge. And like, come on, there's certain things I'm just like, Wait, she said she didn't know who Tupac is. That's the biggest lie I've heard. No, she really was. She said she was saying this. She was trying to claim it is like, oh, I didn't really know to the level of Tupac, this, and this. How could you not? You went to Tupac in order to get money from him because you wasn't getting money from Bad Boy. You wasn't getting the recognition as you wanted. You was beefing with Big at the time. So you went to California to go write some songs for Tupac. You know what you was doing.
We're dropping the charges.
I was up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now, Combs,
It takes. I'm not gonna show any of that. It's brutal. It takes a big man like Puff Daddy to take full responsibility after saying he's gonna make no excuses and immediately starting the video with an excuse about hitting fucking rock bottom or whatever. Ah, man. A beacon of strength, really. It took a lot of courage for that apology video. I respect 50 Cent being a massive hater and selling the documentary Diddy Do It. 50 Cent has been, like, I would say an elite level hater of P. Diddy for quite a while.
At this rate, I can't blame him. I can't blame 50 for this. I cannot blame 50. 50 may be he may be a petty person towards Ja Rule, but at this rate, I mean, he's been saying this for the longest time. Like, I remember him vividly saying it is, hey, listen, you got to say no to Diddy. And Diddy's a freaky ass, like, you know, a freaky ass nigga. Some of the stuff it is that he says openly, and 50 caught on to that. Like, that's one thing it is like, you can't pull a wool's sheep over 50. 50 gonna talk about it. I don't blame him for kind of side-eyeing dude for all these years. Cat Williams has said earlier this year, starting out 2024, all the things in the dark will come to light. All this stuff. He said he had to go ahead and say no to $50 million 4 times. What's good, Galaxy? 4 times. To protect his booty from Diddy. He's another one that said you have to tell Diddy no. This has been going on for years in front of our faces. We had no clue to, like, obviously we don't have no clue to what goes on behind that. But yeah, he said this.
I don't remember how long ago this was, but there's a comment he left on an Instagram post of Diddy's that I think about from time to time and giggle on. It was P. Diddy riding a bike, and 50 Cent left a comment under it saying, "We all know there's no seat on that bike."
Yeah, mm-hmm.
That shit, like, I was grabbing my belly when I first read that one. I thought that was so good. Earlier this evening, federal agents arrested Sean Combs based on a sealed indictment filed by the SDNY. United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, said in a statement, "We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning and we'll have more to say at that time." Federal grand jury in Manhattan returned an indictment against Combs, which set in motion his arrest. The charges remain sealed. Oh.
At this rate, in the jail, or, you know, if he gets indicted or if he gets all whatever charge, if he gets charged or not, you got to keep him away from the niggas. that nigga Diddy gonna be coming up in there. Is like, you want to know how long it is I've waited for this? Ooh, I'm gonna pay a name for myself here. The last thing it is you need is somebody like Diddy to be up in the prison. You don't need that, gang. You don't need that. This nigga gonna intentionally drop the soap or intentionally watch somebody go ahead and drop the soap and get, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, keeping him a mystery right now. A little loot box of charges here for him. What was the name of his camp for kids where you, like, brainwash kids and shit? Was it Puff Daddy Pastry Parade or something? What the fuck was it? Puff Daddy Love Care? Puffy Flavor Camp. That's what it was.
the singer and producer.
Puffy Flavor Camp. That's right.
What the fuck is a Puffy
Basically
Flavor
like
Camp? What? Wait, hold on. What is a Puffy Flavor Puffy Flavored Camp? Puffy Flavored Camp was a program created by L.A. Reid. This is another one I'm side-eyeing. To send Usher to live with recorded executive Puff Daddy in New York in the spring of 1994. This program was intended to help Usher toughen up and gain experience as an entertainer. I'm gonna call this to what it is, gang. I feel like it is that Usher's a victim. I feel like Usher's a victim. Usher, Bieber. There's some people within, Day 26. What's the other? Danity Kane. B5 had an issue with their masters when it came down to Diddy. There is so many things that I'm just side eyeing. It makes sense that he was a victim. I wasn't Usher at least like a teen. He had to be 13 or 14 when he first was like signed to start being a singer. I mean, he was very young. Usher was extremely young. Usher has been in this business for such a long time, bro. But I'm side eyeing a lot of different things here.
Kids. That's exaggeratory. He didn't like abduct them himself, but that shit was foul. The 48 hours with Justin. Oh yeah, the P Diddy clip with Puffy Flavor Camp. He was like, I don't remember the whole. I'll pull up the clip I guess in a second, but there's a clip where there's an interview and he's like, no. Justin's got 48 hours with Puff. He's got 48 Puffy hours. No interruptions. It'll be good for him or something. It's so weird. Fucking diddler. And
oh yeah, I forgot. Excuse me, y'all. I forgot it is that like somebody had custody of Bieber, and I think it was Usher at first. But then Usher gave temporary custody of Bieber to Diddy for about 48 hours. You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that slightly suspicious? How does that happen? How does that happen of temporary custody, the legally? How does that happen? That doesn't make any sense.
In plain sight, right under everyone's nose for years. Finally, though, they're acting on all of the shit. Much like Epstein, it feels like everyone knew he was on some heinous shit, but no one came forward because he's so influential. Well, that was one of the big things. If I remember correctly, he had like a lot of dirt on everyone through throwing his Diddy parties. So I think that was a big piece of leverage for him in keeping people quiet for so long. But yeah, tons of people knew all about Diddy and the terrible shit.
Oh, man. Yep. This has been going on for quite some time. And the thing that always gets me that I think about is what if Biggie was alive and Biggie and Tupac was alive at this point. Unfortunately, with Big, there was he once it was that one. It was one bullet that actually was to get through. The other three they went through his body, but there was no major like organs that was hit or major veins. There was one in particular that did him in. But with Tupac got shot and he was still alive. It wasn't until they put him in that medically induced coma that his body started to shut down. Like I think he died on that table 3 times in the matter of the 7 days after being shot. And this is the same week of Tupac's anniversary, I believe. Only imagine how things would be if they were still alive. You know? Diddy has been profiting off of Biggie for the past 30-something years since it is that he's passed. I mean, all the stuff with his masters, things getting remixed and all that stuff. It sounds to me, and I'm going to say this for somebody that has, grew up in the 90s. I'm going to say, I was a child in the 90s. I'm going to say it is that I feel Biggie was gearing up to leave. He was going to be the first person to do it, and then it was going to follow suit with Kim, the rest of Junior Mafia and whatnot, but unfortunately that didn't get the chance to happen. But benefiting off of this, I mean, look at the song of like the I'll Be Missing You song. That was a song that was from somebody else, and apparently that was stolen. Apparently it was stolen. So this is the things it is that I think about when it comes down to this with Diddy. But more stuff it is we'll be talking about with him moving forward. But yeah, that's it, y'all.